Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Weller and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons 5e and the stealth check, or moving with stealth. Now if you have a look in the player's handbook on page 182 and page 177 of the player's handbook, it actually states some details around stealth. Stealth, hiding and hidden, they're very scattered throughout the player's handbook and it can make it very difficult to actually understand what the heck is going on. So I'm going to start with page 182 and we're going to just deal with moving with stealth. So right now it states, while traveling at a slow pace, okay, stop. So the first thing is, if you're going to move with stealth, you have to move at a slow pace. So what is a slow pace? Well, on page 182 it states what a slow pace is. That's 200 feet in 1 minute, or 2 miles in an hour, or 18 miles per day. So essentially you're moving at roughly half your speed. This is usually done outside of combat for determining whether you can be spotted or seen or move unnoticed as long as you are not in the open. Okay, here's the next part of moving with stealth. If you're moving with stealth, you can't be in the open. In other words, you can't be seen. You have to make sure that you are using cover. It's really up to your dungeon master to determine whether it is possible for you to move unnoticed or unseen based on your terrain. If you're on, say, a mountain, you probably can't move across that mountain unseen. But if you're in like a wooded, foresty area, moving through that location unseen shouldn't be too difficult. If you move with stealth, you can try to surprise or sneak by other creatures that you encounter. So the reason for moving with stealth is, one, to try to surprise attack your enemies or a creature that you're after, or to sneak past them. So how do we actually do this? I've already done a video on the hide action, but we're going to use stealth here in this situation. The characters are moving through what looks like a swampy area. There's a little bit of forest as well, and they come across what looks like some cabins, and there's a whole bunch of goblins here. Now they don't really want to engage the goblins, instead they're going to try to sneak past them. So I'm going to say that the trees provide heavy obscurity, so it's pretty hard to actually be seen with heavy obscurity. Now these goblins are paying attention, so a stealth check would be required by everybody as long as they stay in the trees that are considered heavy obscurity. I'm going to use the rogue from the starter set, the Dungeons & Dragons starter set, as an example of how this might work. I believe that the starter set rogue has a stealth check score of 7. So we're going to use that. So 7. I'm going to roll a 20-sided dice and determine what our score is. So I got a 17, which is a good score. We add them together and the total comes to 24. So we need this to be greater than anything that the passive check for the goblins might have. These goblins here that are standing guard with their bows have a passive check or passive perception of 9. That's what you will find in the monster manual. So you can see the score is greater than 9, and provided they don't move into an open area where they could be seen, they can continue to move with stealth. We're not in combat at this present time. It might take place, it might not. So you can move through that location, stay in the obscured area. If you have total cover, then making a check is going to be much easier because, one, you can't be seen behind total cover. The only thing that might give you away are things like the noise that you make, or if you smell really bad, or you're dealing with a creature that can detect you by means that don't involve things like sight, smell and hearing. So what happens if the guards here, these goblins, are actually distracted? Well, then don't bother using a passive perception check. There's absolutely no point, and I wouldn't even use an active perception check. If the goblins are not paying attention and just going about their business, it really won't matter what the stealth check is, provided that the characters actually stay behind some cover or within cover and can't be seen. Now a dungeon master might decide that you're making an awful lot of noise, and even though you don't have to worry about creatures actually paying attention because they're distracted and they don't get to use their passive perception or an active perception check, you might be making so much noise that they can detect you because it's that easy and it's automatic, even though they are distracted. Bear in mind that stealth requires the Dungeon Master to make a lot of calls on the fly, and they determine an awful lot of the outcome of moving with stealth. As I said, moving with stealth is usually used outside of combat when you're just moving from point A to point B. Now, some Dungeon Masters might find that although you can't be seen or you can't be heard, you're dealing with a creature that uses smell to detect if there are enemies or hostile creatures nearby, and so therefore, unless you've taken a bath, there's still a chance that you will have to make a stealth check. It's not stated in the player's handbook that the Dungeon Master can use smell. The Dungeon Master really has a lot of things at their disposal and a lot of things they have to think about in terms of how that will work. That's pretty much everything on moving with stealth. If you found this video helpful or informative, please share, like and subscribe. Make a comment below if you have any questions and I will do my best to answer them. Till next time, keep rolling those 20s.